Thanks to the rivalries between Rin Itoshi and Isagi Yoichi, as well as between Izagi and Kaiser, these three players have been able to excel to immense levels on the football field. But have you ever thought about what if Sai Itoshi decided to join the Neo-Egoist League? Not only that, but join forces with Isagi and Kaiser. How would that impact the Blue Lock storyline and Rin's future? More importantly, how would Isagi and Kaiser react to that? Would they not reach the potential that they have now? Or would the opposite happen, where they would surpass that potential and become some of the top players in the world? Let's see. First, we would have to ask ourselves two questions. Number one, why would Sai Itoshi want to join the Neo-Egoist League? And number two, what team would he want to join? To answer that, we need to go way back to one of the first episodes in the Blue Lock anime, to the iconic moment where Itoshi Sai says that there's no striker that can receive his passes in Japan. It's only when the Blue Lock project is introduced that he starts sharing a slight interest in Japanese football. So it happens that in the U20 match versus Blue Lock, Sai finally got the answer he was looking for after not only playing with Shiru Ryusei, but after watching Blue Lock's brain Izagi Yoichi steal the spotlight in his match. After that, well, we all know what happens. Poor Rin had to watch his brother acknowledge his rival Isagi Yoichi as Japan's best striker. You see, after the U20 match, Sai realized that Isagi would be the one leading Japan to a World Cup, and so be the one striker that could keep up with him, gaining an immense interest on Isagi. Therefore, after getting an opportunity to finally play with Isagi Yoichi on the same team, while increasing his potential and develop rate, Sai doesn't hesitate to join the Neo-Egoist League and so further test his favorite striker. Next, what team would he join? Now hear me out. Even though the answer might seem easy, since Sai acknowledged Isagi's potential and wanted to play with him in the future. At this moment in time, he might want to keep testing Isagi to see if he reaches his full potential by the time they play together for the World Cup, and so be a much deadlier duo than they would have been if Isagi just had it easier in the Neo-Egoist League thanks to Sai's presence. Even though both options are viable, Sai doesn't have any interest in playing with any other player besides Yoichi, and so he ends up picking Bastard Munchen, the German team, led by the world's best, Noel Noah. It's only now that things finally get interesting. You see, Itoshi Sai had no idea that Kaiser, a player with a professional team, same as himself, would also join the Neo-Egoist League, and take interest in Isagi of all players. Even though both of them have interest on Yoichi, Kaiser's goal is to destroy Izagi's ego and prove that Blue Lock has nothing on him, where Sai already got to experience Izagi's talent and potential, and knows exactly the type of player he is. After learning of Kaiser, Sai doesn't give much importance to his presence on the team, acting like he's just another regular player. That is, until the first match of the Neo-Egoist League. In the match against Barca, Sai finds himself impressed by Kaiser's goal after witnessing the Kaiser impact for the first time. You see, in the first game against Bachira's team, Izagi still had to prove himself and would start the game on the bench, just like in the original show. So this was the perfect time for Kaiser to shine and show Sai that nobody is above him. Intrigued by Kaiser's abilities, Sai starts working with him to see the levels their partnership could take him. Because remember, Sai's intention in the beginning of the storyline was always to win the Champions League, since Japan didn't have good enough players to compete for the World Cup. So besides him finding his striker for the national team in Izagi, he would still be interested in a foreign striker if it led him right into a Champions League title. The Sai and Kaiser duo is just too much for Barca, a team of dribblers, to deal with. And so with ease, Kaiser scores his second goal of the match. It's only when Izagi finally comes in on the field that the tide changes. Besides the interest on both strikers, Sai will always connect with the best possible option. And like we saw in the original storyline, Izagi's control over the players on the field is just on a tier of his own. Besides having different attributes and abilities compared to Kaiser, Izagi is able to stand out more than just a striker. And so connecting better with Sai on a mental level and deciding a 3-1 win in their debut as a team. When on the same field as Sai, Izagi's potential increases to unmeasurable heights, even though attributes like speed and strength might remain untouched. Izagi's abilities to read options on the field, both offensively and defensively, as well as his direct shot ability and meta vision, become unstoppable to the normal eye. Sai Itoshi's pass accuracy and precision makes it almost impossible to stop a direct shot from Yoichi unless you were to foul him, which might end up in a worse fate to the opposition. Kaiser, just like in the original show, doesn't accept being a number 2 option, so getting angrier and angrier with both Yoichi and Sai, continuing their rivalry to exponential levels. This team would go on to get past Manshine City, Nagi, and Ryo's team with ease, getting another 3-1 win on the board. Before Ryo and Nagi had any chance, the match was over, with 2 goals for Yoichi and 1 for Kaiser, leveling the playing field 3 goals for each. Next match would be against the Italy side Ubers. led by Baro and Snuffy. Bastards would have a tougher time against Ubers' defensive tactics, and so being caught by surprise and conceding the same way they did in the original storyline. But besides Baro's efforts, he's no match for the trio of Sai, Izagi, and Kaiser, and so ending up in Uber's 3-2 defeat, and yet again another win for the team of prodigies. Getting all 3 games past them, it's now time for the final matchup against PXG, the team led by Itoshi Rin, Blue Lock's #1, and Sei's little brother. This would prove to be the biggest challenge yet for Bastard Munchen, especially with Loki, the young genius, coaching the team from the outside. The start of the match goes pretty similar to the show, with Shido scoring the first goal of the match, and Izagi following with the amazing 2-gun volley. Rin, once again, would struggle a lot against his brother, the same way he did in the U-20 match against Japan, but this time, he's able to break through early on, entering his destructive flow state and finally devouring Sai on a plate. So scoring for the PXG side. At the same time, seeing Izagi and Rin dominate the stage, Kaiser also has his awakening, scoring the same way he did in the original timeline, leaving the game to a deciding goal to come. In this version of the story, the game would be decided with both coaches, Noel Noah and Loki, playing for their respective teams. With both world-class players on the field, the intensity rises, the pressure goes up, and more importantly, the vision opens up for Izagi and Sai. You see, the meta vision of these two is on a completely different level than everybody else. Even though they might lack physical attributes compared to the pros, such like speed, stamina, and strength, they can read the game and manipulate the players in ways that even some pros cannot. And so, similar to the show, with Noah's presence on the field, they see infinite ways to win the game with an ultimate goal. Therefore, that's exactly what happens. The trio of Noah, Izagi, and Sai ends up being too much for PXG to handle even with Loki's presence, giving a decisive win for the German team with a final goal scored by none other than Izagi Yoichi. And so Bastards would be crowned the champions of the Neo Egoist League, finishing with nothing but wins on their resume. Thanks to Sai's presence in the Neo Egoist League, Izagi Yoichi would rise to Blue Lock's #1, leaving both Rin and Kaiser furious and devastated. Izagi would finish the NEL with a total of 7 goals, as much as the former #1 Itoshi Rin. Kaiser would finish with 5 behind Yoichi, and with the biggest offer on the table just ahead of Itoshi Sai, even though him and Sai didn't seem very interested in that to begin with. The final top 5 rankings would consist of Izagi, Rin, Baro, Nagi, and Shido, leaving Rin in an even angrier state that would propel him to even bigger heights in the World Cup, potentially becoming #1 once again. What do you think about this theory? Pretty funny, huh? If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.